Alright guys, welcome to nutrition part 2. Now I made a second video because nutrition is such a broad concept that it's hard to just figure out your calories and go from there. Now that we've watched the first video and we've figured out just exactly how many calories our body needs according to our goals, whether it be muscle gain or fat loss, now we need to understand how we can make it work in our lifestyle, how we can make it work in our day-to-day lives and routines. Just knowing that number alone isn't good enough. You need to know how you can make it work and how you can eat in an enjoyable way. Like, I don't want to promote some sort of unsustainable isogenics diet where all you're doing is drinking shakes all day, or some detox program, or something where you're barely eating any food at all. Like, I want this to be sustainable and fun, an enjoyable way to eat and continue to lose weight or whatever your fitness goals may be. So let's get into it. So we've determined how many calories we need every single day. So we're gonna aim for those calories and we're tracking them. Like I said in the previous video, you need to track your calories at least for a week or two just to have a general idea of the overall caloric content of many of the foods you eat. The reason why is because then you'll start to get a general idea of what most foods are, and then you can ballpark things from there and still stay on track with your health and fitness goals. So for example, if you're someone who works a 9-to-5 job and you like to eat a lot at night because it helps you stay full, you usually have like family dinners and that's a ritual for you and your lifestyle, then what I do is I would eat a lower amount of calories in your breakfast and your lunch and have maybe a little bit more wiggle room with your diet at dinner. Maybe you can have some room for dessert. Maybe you save some room for more carb-dense meals. And maybe a drink here and there as well. I'm okay with that. Like, at the end of the day, focusing on hitting those numbers, the caloric numbers, your daily calories, is what I'm worried about. And so maybe you're somebody who works early in the morning and you have a construction job and you think that you have to eat breakfast. That's just what makes you run optimally. Everyone's different. That's fine too. Then maybe you can have a high calorie meal in the morning. Lunch, you probably need a big lunch too because you're working. And then dinner, you can have more protein veggies, like a little bit low calorie meal, and you just kind of taper it down from there going to bed. Like, it depends what your lifestyle is like. It depends what you enjoy and what works optimally for you. Now, with that being said, guys, there are 3 key macronutrients. That is protein, carbs, and fats. Now, there are all kinds of diets out there that play with those ratios, but the general rule of thumb, assuming that you don't have any dietary constraints or allergies, get at least 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. That's generally what I'd like to see from you. And then we have carbs and fats. Fats should generally make up around 30% of your total calories, and then the rest would just be carbs. With that being said, everybody runs optimally differently on these different macronutrients. So you might need a little bit more fats than carbs. You might need a little bit more carbs than fats. It's kind of up to you. This is a trial and error type thing to recognize and figure out along the way. My clients who see the best results in my private coaching programs are ones where I'll give them a ballpark diet and their ballpark calories, and they'll kind of adjust from there on what makes them look and feel their best on a daily basis, and they'll figure out exactly what makes them feel the best and stay on track, and I'll approve it or give my 2 cents, and then we go from there. I mean, I can give you any diet out there, but it's up to you if you enjoy it. It's up to you if you can stick with it. But like I said, hitting those numbers, hitting those daily caloric numbers are something that's key. So for example, what I generally eat and what I generally recommend for my clients to eat is meals at least 80% of the time that are really high in veggies and really high in protein, like 1 or 2 chicken breasts with the nice, good, low-calorie seasoning and lots of sautéed vegetables. It's no secret, like diet gets so complicated. It's so complicated. Like, there's so much information out there, but at the end of the day, it's not that hard. I mean, the little things that we learned from our mom and our grandma growing up still hold true today. Eat your vegetables, eat your greens, get those micronutrients up, because that's what's gonna make you feel your best. Yes, you can lose weight by eating pizza and Oreos all day if you're under your caloric numbers. It's all about the deficit or the surplus. If you're in a surplus, caloric surplus, you'll gain weight. If you're in a deficit, you'll lose weight. But with that being said, if you cheat all day on your diet and you're still in the deficit and you're still losing weight, you're gonna feel like crap. You're gonna feel like crap. So with that being said, at least 80% of the time, I know we're all human and I'm allowing you to go out from time to time and eat some of your favorite foods from time to time, but eat foods with lots of fresh vegetables and fruit and lean proteins. That's basically how I eat all the time. I'll saute up some mushrooms, some green onions, some peppers, things like that, have a nice chicken breast or some sort of protein source, fish, whatever it may be, and kind of go from there. In the mornings, I like to have some egg whites and some whole eggs, probably 2 whole eggs, and get some more volume with some egg whites just to make me feel a little bit more full. After training, I'll usually go for some sort of protein powder or protein source. Sometimes I eat it, sometimes I get from the protein powder with lots of fresh fruit. Throw in a banana there, throw it in the Magic Bullet, and that's my post-workout meal. Other than that, lunches or salads, wraps, things like that, just high veggies and high protein. That's what makes me feel optimal and go about the day accordingly. Let's talk about going out. Let's talk about being social. A lot of times you're going to go out to the bar, you're going to have a glass of wine with your girlfriends or go to grab a beer with the boys. And I'm okay with that. I mean, we're social animals. You're going to see great results on this program. I want you to go out and show them off. Maybe you don't drink at all, whatever that may be, that's totally fine too. But with that being said, I want you to be conscious of the caloric content of different drinks that you're having once you go out. So for example, if you're gonna have a glass of wine or two, that's totally fine. But if you're gonna have a bottle, understand how that's not only gonna affect your calories that day, but make you feel the next day. Are you gonna be optimal the next day? Are you gonna be able to train the next day? Think about that the night before. For example, if you're going out with the boys or girls, whatever it may be, and you're gonna have lots of beer, there's a big difference between having 5 Guinness pints and 5 lower calorie, let's say Molson 67 pints or some sort of lighter beer. There's almost double calories in a big heavy Guinness than there is some sort of wheat beer. Same thing if you're drinking mixed drinks. If you're gonna have gin and tonics all night, that's okay. If you're gonna have like 3 max, that's totally fine. That's just a little bit of alcohol with some sort of very low calorie mix. But if you're drinking very sugary Palm Bays all the time, that's gonna add up quick. There's a ton of sugar in that, and that's gonna be a nasty hangover the next day too. Now, I'm not like pushing drinking by any way. All I'm saying is it's easy to work it in to your caloric numbers if that's what you want, if you want to go out and be social. I'm just trying to prove that there's a lifestyle approach to go about your diet. You don't have to lock yourself in your room or in your house all day and just continually cook chicken breast and broccoli. That's not sustainable, and it's not fun. That's not fun. I want you to be able to still go out. I want you to be able to still go to a restaurant. You can still get a big burger and some fries. Just make sure that you haven't really had that many calories before that big meal and you're accounting for it in your caloric numbers. So there's a very fine line walking here. It's the 80-20 rule, and that's really what I want to double down here. 80% of the time, you eat foods that are high in protein and high in vegetables and micronutrients that make you feel good, make you feel satiated, you feel full and energized. And then 20% of the time, I'm okay with you going out and have a little bit of ice cream with your friends. There's birthdays, you're gonna have a slice of birthday cake here and there, maybe some sort of dinner with a friend you haven't seen in a long time. I totally understand that, we're all human, but make sure it's the 80-20 rule. It's when you play around with that ratio a little bit and it becomes more 30, 40, 50, and you start going down this downward spiral. With that being said, that brings me to my next point. Some people need to really stay away. Maybe it's more 90-10 or 95-5, because if they have a little bit of cookies or chips or whatever it may be, it leads to such a downward spiral of binge eating, and then things get way out of whack. So you kind of need to be very self-aware of what will work for you and if you can stay in control or not. But like I said, the general 80-20 rule is something that I want you to focus on. So to sum this video up, because I know I kind of rambled on a little bit, is number 1, focus on hitting your caloric numbers for the day. And then number 2 is the 80-20 rule. Focus on getting at least 80% of your meals and diet from good sources, good whole food sources. And then 20% you have to play around with. Maybe you're going out, whatever it may be. But just make sure that generally, and most of the time, you stay on track, because at the end of the day, if you have more good days than bad, you're eventually going to get to where you want to go, and that's what I want you to focus on with this video.